Want to see how a Razer Blade 14-inch GTX 1060 gets on against a desktop? Let's have a look. Hi, this is Stephen from Own or Disown, and today we're doing a second part of our series of laptop versus desktop, which I think quite a few of you found was quite useful. So I've got the Razer Blade 14-inch with the i7-6700HQ CPU and the GTX 1060 graphics card in against my desktop, which has the i7-4790K processor, which I downclocked to 3.3 gigahertz. And the reason I did that was the i7-6700HQ tends to run anywhere from like 3 gigahertz up to 3.5. So I picked somewhere in between. And I have put a GTX 970 graphics card in here just to see how it compares. I mean, you may already have a 970, a very popular graphics card, and you may be thinking of switching. You may want to know if the GTX 1060 is any better, or perhaps you may want to go for a 1070. So anyway, let's have a look. I do a few CPU tests, and I do quite a few gaming tests as well. So let's have a look at the results. So let's take a look at some games, all recorded at 1920 by 1080p max settings. On the gaming benchmarks, I also include the Razer Blade being overclocked. Get 1 point for a win and 0 points for a loss or a tie. Rainbow Six Siege, the desktop tied with the Razer Blade at stock clocks, overclocked the Razer Blade, and you saw quite a noticeable improvement. So no points for either there. Switching to Rise of the Tomb Raider, the desktop easily beat the stock clocked Razer Blade, but overclocked the Razer Blade, it actually matched the desktop performance, so that's not bad. However, that's 1 point for desktop, 0 points for Razer. Moving on to Mafia 3, it's a tie across the board. Amazing. Everything was 41 frames per second, so no points to anything there. Ark Survival, however, the desktop easily beat the stock clocked Razer. However, overclocked the Razer Blade, massive leap in performance. So that's 1 point for the desktop again, 0 for the Razer, making it 2 points to the desktop, still nothing for the Razer Blade. Now, two popular games, Battlefield 1 and Doom. In Battlefield 1, I got a very strange result on the GTX 970 desktop, 22 frames per second. I did run it a number of times, but got the same result. So the Razer Blade won that test. In Doom, however, the desktop redeemed itself with 93 frames per second compared to 84, so 1 point apiece. Desktop now has 3 points, Razer Blade 1 point. Now with the real games out of the way, moving on to the synthetic 3D mark scores of Time Spy and Firestrike, very close indeed. In Time Spy, only 140 points or so separates the two, but the Razer Blade did snatch that one, so 1 point there. And in Firestrike, again close, about 260 points separating it. But again, the Razer Blade won once more. So that closes the gap. 2 points there for the Razer Blade compared to 0 for the desktop. Total score, desktop 3 points. Razer Blade ties now with 3 points as well. So the i7-6700HQ in the Razer Blade 14 beats the desktop CPU clocked at 3.3 gigahertz. So that's not a bad result at all. I think to even things out, perhaps if the desktop chip was clocked to 3.4 gigahertz, it would be pretty much identical. But as the result stands, that's 1 point for Razer, 0 for the desktop. Total score now, desktop 3 points, Razer Blade 4 points. So once again, the power of the i7-6700HQ in the Razer Blade 14 led to a 10% victory actually here over the desktop. So 45 minutes to do the 4 gigabyte Handbrake test compared to 49 minutes. So that means 1 point for Razer, 0 points for the desktop. Total score now, 3 points for the desktop, 5 points for the Razer Blade. So the final test is Passmark, which governs the general PC performance of hard drive speed, memory speed and graphics speed. There was only 170 points separating them here, but the desktop did win. So that gives it 1 point to the Razer, 0 points. Closes the gap, so final score, desktop 4 points, Razer Blade 5 points. So to conclude then, it's a lot closer than you perhaps initially thought it may be the case. The good old Razer Blade here held its own and in fact beat the desktop. And without overclocking the graphics card, It was close. It was very close indeed, but yet it still won the overall test, so that is good. Now, if you did overclock the graphics card on the Razer Blade, it was a bit of a landslide victory then. Granted, you can overclock the desktop too, but I just wanted to show what this is capable of. And I think certainly if you got a 970 and you want to jump up and still have the ultimate portability, I think something like the Razer Blade or equivalent with a 1060 in is a good solution for you. Of course, if you wanted to go up for the 1070, you're going to start getting into a bit bigger chassis. But still, hope that helps you out, and thumbs up if you like my video, and subscribe if you would like to see some more. Thanks very much. Bye now.